Hi guys, welcome to day 9 of the 3-month DAS Trader Challenge. It is Friday, and conversely, it's one of those days where things just don't work out too well for me at the moment. And I know this because I journal my trades and I look at every day and I look at the trends and which days I do better on, how many shares I do better with, the price point, all of those really important metrics. I've moved away from TraderView to save some money. And I have a macro in Excel that takes my trades from here and massages them and manipulates them, not in the sense of manipulating them, but playing around with the data and feeding it in different cells, and then I can look at all my metrics and see what I'm doing. So today I lost $60, and I lost that pretty early on, maybe even about 20 to 10, so 940, 945, 950 around there. I had lost about $90 or $60. I was down probably about 300 at one stage. I was down 120 at one stage. I was up 60 and then up 120, and then I was down 60. So minus 60 for the day. And the reason is because I became a bit obsessed with a certain stock. And I know that I don't really do this a lot, but I revenge traded the hell out of KR today. So I took, you can see how many executions I took, which is a lot more than what I normally do. Normally I stick to about 30-ish around there. So because I'm in a sim, and this is day 9, so almost 2 weeks in the simulator, because I'm in a sim, I'm allowing myself a little bit more freedom because I have to. I have to learn how to use this platform inside out. I have to learn more about my own psychology, about my own comfort zones. I have to push those comfort zone areas. I have to push my buttons to see, what pisses me off, what drives me to be committed, what I do well and what I don't do well. I can tell you what I don't do well. I don't revenge trade very well. And so I would say that I closed my day off at about, I think it was 10:20 or thereabouts. Let me just show you what I posted in the chat room. So you can see here, I pasted at 10:20 in the morning. I wrote lack of discipline on KR minus 60 sim day 9. So that is it for today. So that's how I did in terms of money wise. Let's go through the trades. Now I'm going to show you my P&L because I always do that. But once again, don't look at it too closely because it doesn't reflect how I traded for the whole day. But what it does, it gives me a really good sense of my weak points and my strong points. So I'll show you how I traded KR. So start off with the P&L. So at the moment, it's down officially, $4,400 or thereabouts. Now, as I said, finished my day minus $60, then took a break, then came back, and then went into experimental mode and said, okay, let's see what I normally do if this was the way that I would finish up my day. Would I be tempted? Would I have the discipline to hold back and sit back and sit on my hands waiting for an A-grade setup? Or would I go back into my old habits of just, switching around and kind of throwing between one stock and the other, which is a very random approach. And this is how I used to trade. So you can see I still have some of those traits, unfortunately. And it's not going to go overnight. I mean, I'm not going to become an awesome trader overnight, but then I'm not going to become a terrible trader overnight as well. But, certainly I'm beginning to understand my limits and my threshold for when I should stop, for when I should keep going. There's still boundaries that are invisible to me for the moment. I don't quite, I'm not quite able to put them, in the right times at sometimes. Sometimes I go too far and trade too much. Sometimes, very rarely do I not trade enough. I haven't gone that way. I've always gone to the excess of one way. But this is a very good kind of lesson for me to take away. And I know myself a little bit better than what I used to know myself in terms of trading and revenge trading. And today, for anyone who's watching who has an issue or problem with revenge trading, let me show you how badly it goes for you when you get so stubborn that you won't let a stock go. Now, I know some of you guys have a favorite stock that you just talk about or you trade or you're always kind of looking at and following, which is fine, but you've got to be careful not to get too obsessed with a certain stock, because then you start looking into the fundamentals, you start, looking at the products, you start looking at the management, you become a little bit too closely associated with the stock. You've got to remember, we don't really mind or care, you know, what the company does, what they produce, you know, what the results were. We just focus on the market action and what it dictates to us. And if we come to bias towards a stock, you know, that can be dangerous, because then you might get, you know, clippers on your eyes, and you might not actually see, you know, the real big picture. You just get too honed in on certain aspects of it. So anyway, so let's go through the trades. So I'm still in KR. You can see I took a massive position. And this is for my ego. This is simply for my ego to try and get out of a hole. And this is what I used to do. Even with real money. I mean, I wouldn't go, you know, $80,000 into a trade. But this is just my ego trying to kind of soak up the loss and make me feel better about it. And I'll tell you what, it's not freaking working. With every trade I take on KR, I just get a loss upon a loss upon a loss upon a loss. And it's getting to the stage where I'm sitting here and I'm not going to stop. I mean, I'm going to stop now because it's 12:47 and I'm going to walk away. It's about 7 p.m. here in Poland, Friday night. So I'm not going to be sitting here till 10 p.m. But, you know, the long and short of it is that I've become really obsessed today, which I don't often do. But anyway, let's go through it. So the first trade I took this morning was just as the market opened. And the other mistake I made was that I also, let me just make this bigger. I also traded quicker than so I entered quicker than I usually would do on a short. So I didn't give it the first full 5 minutes. So that's one rule I broke today. And the other rule I broke today is that by mistake, inadvertently, I was looking at a 1 minute chart for when I was picking my entry point, not a 5 minute chart. So that is just a simple beginner's error. Really silly mistake to make. But I got in at the wrong price, and that also kind of cost me, because then when I switched to a 5 minute setup, which is where I normally, that's the time frame I use, I could tell that it wasn't the best entry. So anyway, ADMP. So I'm trying to stay away from the low flow stocks at market, but I'm trying not to trade them, because it's not something that I've had a lot of success with. But this one I got kind of sucked in today, and I bought, what was it, 200 shares. So you can see my trades here. I bought 200 shares just pretty much a minute after the market opened here, and then I bought a further, I think, 100 here. I'm sorry, ADP. So 200, yeah, my mistake. So I got in at 605, sorry, at $6.15, and then, which was here, and then I followed that up with another purchase at $6.05. 600 shares. Didn't want to go crazy. Back in the old days, in the bad old days, I would have gone in here full position. So I probably would have taken, you know, 600, 700 shares, even 1,000 shares. I probably would have taken 1,000 shares in the old days, which is just recipe for disaster. So now I'm being quite aware that I need to go in half a position. And that's what I did. So I took, was it 400 here and 200 here. I was going to take more here, but I know that I need to kind of keep this really realistic, because when I go live in 2.5 months, you know, I really want to have this bedded in. And I made a little bit of profit. I ended up scaling out, and I made, I think, $65. So my target is $200 for the day. That's my goal. So $65 up. And then BAH. Okay, BAH. So actually, so you can see how much profit I made here. So next to each entry, when I close out the position, when I scale out, you can see how much money I made. So for ADMP, this is how much I made. I think this totals up $65. And then on bar, you can see bar was a really good short. So I shorted here $31.66, which is here. I shorted a couple of times simply because I just could see weakness in it, and I saw that it touched the VWAP, it couldn't get past it, it couldn't break above it, it got rejected, and I thought, okay, this is a good place to enter. And it was a really good trade, this one, you know, really good solid entry, you know, a low stress trade. How many shares did I take? So what time was this? This was at about 9:35. So look at a candle at about 9:35. So it was probably this one. Yeah, because this is the this is the earliest candle that there is. This one, yeah, 9:35. So this is what I got in, 300 shares. So normally I would go in 200 shares, but I got in 300 simply because I felt pretty comfortable with it, and I felt I had a pretty good risk reward. You know, the reward, sorry, my ultimate target was we didn't have this low of day beforehand, and I'm still drawing up my levels, and I'll make a video on my levels. But bar I know had a level. So where was it? Where did I get in? 32.32. So I got in just about here. So I'm looking for a level here. So a really good level that it bounced off, you can see here, is $32. So let me just draw that here. I should have drawn this earlier on, but I know that full dollar marks are invisible support and resistance lines. That's why I didn't draw it on, simply because I'm aware of it in my mind that that is a really key pivot point. But you know, just to draw it on here. So this is my target. So where are we? So this was my target. So I got in here. My target was $32. And I covered, sorry, I got in again here because I could just see a lot of weakness, and it broke down below 32 quite quickly and quite easily, I thought. So I thought, okay, you know, this is still got some meat left on the bones. So I covered here and I covered here, and I left the last bit of run here, and I covered here pretty much at break even. And then, you know, and then I just saw that it was still quite weak. I mean, yes, it had this kind of this hammer candle here, which could indicate change of direction and a bullish reversal. But that didn't happen, and I took another nice solid trade here at 31.72, covered at the low of day. So this is what, 40 cents, and then I covered just a little bit here, I think, for a small loss. And then I just continued a couple more times in the trade. You know, shorted here at $30.70 almost. Folded up here at the VWAP when it got rejected again, and I covered here and here. And I thought, okay, that's enough. It's becoming a little bit more unpredictable, a little bit more choppy. So that's it, and that took me from what? So from 9:30 to about 10:15. So bar, if you add up all these on bar, it was a really good trade. And I'm pretty sure by this stage, I don't even know how much I was up, because I keep my realized profit and loss hidden, as well as my unrealized profit and loss hidden. But I know that I started getting into a bit of trouble here. You can see these two losses, so BWA. So this is where I started getting into trouble. So really, realistically, if I had looked at my P&L and saw that I was up, whatever this was, so that, you know, let's say this is almost 100, 130, take away 30, that's $100 up, 100 and, so what's that? So let me start again. So 100 plus 30, let's say 130, take away 30 is 100, 155, 165, 200 pretty much, I'll say 195, 200. So this is 200 plus 65 about. So I was about $265 up, 250 to 65. That for me should have been it. You know, if I had, and the lesson for the future going forward is that after I close that position out, I will look at my P&L, my realized P&L only, just to see where we are. So if I had done that, I would have known that that's it, I'm done. 265 or 250, I'm out. But I got into a bit of trouble because I kept trading, and this is the one that got me into trouble, BWA. Oh, sorry, we're here already. And this is it. You know, I was quite, I shorted it really, really far away from the VWAP, and I kind of knew it wasn't a good entry. You know, this is a VWAP, this is the 9. You know, I'm miles away from this. This is a recipe for disaster. It's too far away from the indicators to be taken a position at all. And if I did, it should have been very, very small. You know, and the thing is, I got a bit lucky because I made a bit of money here. And then I became, you know, a bit obsessed that I'm correct, and obviously I wasn't correct, and I kept adding, and then I got out of here for a loss. I've only got a minute 15 left, so I won't go through all of them. Just the ones that were that actually I did something with it is reasonable for you guys to learn from. So CVS was a good short away from the VWAP. Not a good practice to get into. Not a good strategy. So I need to be careful. But once again, I kind of got away with it here. And I shorted and it covered here when it couldn't break the 9. But I need to be careful. I need to take better entries on these. FL I had a loss on. Simply because, look, I mean, once again, this is where I got caught out. You know, 2 trades, bad entries, way too late in, you know, in the move. And this one caught me out, and I got caught in a short squeeze. So a good lesson for me there. FNSR wasn't too bad. I mean, there was one big loss there. Which was what? So I shorted here, added here, covered, and then I shorted here again, which was a little bit early because it didn't break below the 50, but it broke below the VWAP. And then I should have covered, obviously hindsight, you know, it's always, you know, we're always good in hindsight, but I didn't, I copped the loss here. But the big one, I don't want to waste time, I've got about 1 second left.